Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Here we go with another Short Shifts episode. We got 10 minutes on the clock. Jeffrey Lavecchio, should you choose to accept this challenge of mine, you have no idea what the topic is going to be. No idea. That is the whole point of the show. Are you ready?
Let's get it.
We're going to talk some gaps. We're going to talk some gaps today.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the importance of gapping up. And coaches love to talk about how important gaps are to playing well defensively. So let's talk about gaps. What's important about gapping up? How do we gap up? I'm going to leave it big picture up to you.
Big picture.
Go.
Well, the first thing that I thought of is manipulating the gap because I was a forward. So I was thinking right away, how can I manipulate
start with
the
that
gap?
then. I think that's great. Start with that.
Okay. What Toph means by the gap, for anybody who doesn't know, is listening or watching. What's up? You can watch these live on our Facebook channel. Get at us. The gap is the distance between the defenseman and the forward, or the defensive team and the forward team. So at the highest levels, defensemen are very good at taking ice back, meaning coming up, gapping up, we call it, skating forward towards the offensive players, and then turning, pivoting, and moving backwards at a rate that is equal to that player coming at you. So it's much harder for them to go around you. It could also mean like closing the gap, closing the distance so they have less time and space to make a play. Now, what I immediately thought of when Toph asked, let's talk about the gap. I was a forward just like Toph was. And as you get older, it's a chess game. When you're younger, you're playing checkers, you run around fast. When you're younger or when you're older, you start to think the game. And so if I know that it helps a D-man to gap up on me and match my speed, guess what? Toph and I talk about deception all the time. I want to manipulate that gap. So different ways you can do this is as that D-man starts to come up and close the gap on you and they're going to pivot and move backwards, I might start off really hot and sprint really, really fast. And as soon as they, are like, oh, I got to start backing up. So I time this, I might hit the brakes real quick. So now they closed the gap, they went backwards. And now because I hit the brakes after faking them out, thinking I'm going to come at them full speed, and it just could be like a 1 second, 2 second kind of little delay. Now I've increased that gap and I've messed with their speed as they're trying to match mine. It's a lot easier to generate speed and power moving forward on the ice than it is versus backwards. So anytime as a forward, you can mess with that D-man's gap control, ability to match your speed. You're going to catch them flat-footed and you're going to be able to beat them way more. All right. They're going to either overskate now so that they don't get beat wide or behind them, or they're going to be flat-footed underskate, and that's where you can just one shimmy shake, bang, see ya outside, boom, and you take them wide to the net. If you're me and you can't really stick handle well, because that's what I had to do. But for me, it's all this is very important. Manipulating the gap. This is deception. You're coming in the zone as the guy with the puck. And instead of just skating down the wall and letting that D-man close a gap on you and match your speed and just ride you off into the sunset in the corner, you sprinting and then doing the Gretzky curl up or stopping and pulling back, creating more distance is creating a bigger gap, which allows you more time and space. And as we talked about on this podcast many times, the coach and juniors who said this, and it's massively important to playing higher level hockey is if you give a bad player time and space, you make them average. If you give an average player time and space, you make them good. If you give a good player time and space, you make them great. But the opposite is also true. If you give a great player, or if you take away time and space from a great player, you make them good. You take away time and space from a good player, you make them average. You take it away from an average player, you make them bad. So manipulating time and space is very important. And that has a lot to do with gaps. And I'm covering that from the offensive standpoint. So I don't know if you want to talk about defensive or if you want to, talk about what I was going with there and then hit defensive.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of one and the same, right? Like when you talk about one, you got to kind of talk about it from the other side. So defensively, the goal is to match speeds. it makes it a lot easier to defend when you match speeds. And offensively, you want to try and change speeds and create a speed, what Belfry calls a speed differential, which can then create some time and space for you to do your thing, stop on a dime, whatever. And so a great way to be able to match speeds is to start where that person is starting, if that makes any sense. And so when you're gapped up and you're a stick length away from that person, it's a lot easier to match a speed than if you're, a zone away and that person's flying at you and you're flat footed. Very hard to match speeds with that person again. And so just kind of like from a ground level type thing, like matching speeds is what allows you to defend a lot better, if that makes any sense. So let's start there. In the higher levels of hockey, you're hearing a lot of coaches talking about defensively, like particularly defensemen, you want to defend skating forwards. Well, you can't defend skating forwards unless you have a good gap, right? And so that's why it's important to get up, get on that person. And then when that person gets the puck, now you got a good gap on them. You can skate forwards on them, angle from the inside out, get them to the outside, boom, squash the play, kill the play, get the puck, go the other way. And so that's just another thing that I think is really important. I think the other thing, talking about it from like an offensive standpoint, I think if you're ever trying to get players to buy into doing something defensively, you should also talk about the why of how this is going to help you offensively, because players want to play offense, right? And so if you're a coach, you want to encourage your defenseman particularly to get your butt up in the play on the rush. Get up in the play. Like how often are you seeing defensemen up in the rush at the highest levels? Well, not only is that going to help offensively by potentially creating odd man rushes, whether it's a 3-on-2 or a 4-on-3, but also if you're up in the rush, now all of a sudden there's a turnover, you're already gapped up. You're already up there. And so it helps you defensively. So having the ability to talk about it from an offensive and a defensive standpoint, like, hey, we want you to get up in the play. We want you to get up. We want you to get up. We want you to get your cookies and get offense and yada, yada, yada. But hey, this is also going to help you defensively, where now you're already gapped up and you're up. You know what I mean? Like that's a big part of it. And so, and the other thing is, like, you talk about being a stick length away, like you're taking away passing lanes too. Like if you're gapped up on somebody, you're taking away a passing option. So from like a team structure standpoint, like let's say you're on the forecheck and the D is gapped up hard. Like, and that's another thing, like communication and terminology is really important as we're trying to get the players to buy in. And so like, that's one thing that I learned from some high level coaches is don't say pinch. Don't say pinch down on the wingers as a defenseman. Say gap hard. Because pinch, there's kind of like this Wild West, I'm up, aggressive. It's kind of a risky play.
Diving at a guy, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you never want to pinch, but like if you're gapped hard, that's a little bit different. So gapping up hard on that winger. Does that make sense? Also, like if you're a defenseman and you hear the word surfing a lot. I know a lot of people hear surfing and some know what it means, some doesn't know what it means. Surfing is basically like having a proactive good gap on a player that's skating like through the neutral zone. So let's say the puck is going up one side, the weak side winger slashes through the middle. As that weak side defenseman, you're surfing that player. So you're basically kind of like riding him a stick length away as he's going through the neutral zone, and you're negating that passing option to come to him. Or if there's like a chip up the wall and now it's a race to go get it, you're already gapped up on that person and you can go stick on puck before they even get there. Or you can even win the race to get that puck potentially. So that's what serving is. So like gapping, it's just taking away time and space, having the ability to take away time and space. I think, and it's funny because we talked about this. So we have a coaching call with our organization Blueprint that we do with all the coaches that we do our youth organization Blueprint with every Tuesday. And one of the things we talked about was how important it is for a defenseman in today's game to be a good skater. It's so important for defensemen in today's game to be a good skater. The ability to gap up and kill plays quickly, the ability to get up in the rush, but also the ability when you do make a mistake, because we play so aggressively nowadays, to be able to recover and get back, skate hard through the middle back. So I just talked a lot. We got about 20 seconds left. This was your question that I asked you. And you had a lot of great points. So anything 15 seconds before.
Yeah, I was, with the USHL team that I work with this weekend watching the games in Chicago. And dude, the gaps are unbelievable because everybody's a good skater.
So hard
That's
to play.
All we got time for. That's all we got time for. Share the show.
Share the show, baby.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.